When teenagers mix drugs and alcohol, the consequences can be fatal. We've heard how the new drug culture is putting dangerous substances in our children's hands. Now we're going to look at the repercussions. Here is NTV's Megan McCabe with part 2 of her series on teens and drugs.
It's a whole new battleground for kids in schools today. One researchers say their young brains aren't developed enough to deal with. And the consequences can be devastating. Don't tell Mary Payne kids will be kids when it comes to trying drugs.
This is the first time he ever tried the methadone. He sent a text message to his buddy's phone saying, "I'm going to try the dome."
Mary's 16-year-old son Jeffrey had been caught smoking weed in school, but what came next was just unimaginable. He moved into a boarding house, and Mary couldn't get him back.
It's like putting a kid into a candy store and say, "Go ahead, eat what you like, but it may kill you."
It was getting caught in a drug bust that finally brought Jeffrey home to his mom. The night before her son's death, Mary's mother almost died.
I left that Friday night and came back that Saturday and found my son dead in the bed with a methadone overdose, a very high methadone overdose. This bracelet was the last gift I received from Jeffrey. I love you, Mom, on it.
It was just 2 weeks before Jeffrey's high school graduation. 2 years later, Mary says her hands still go numb, picturing her son lying dead in his bed. Dr. Barbara Thomas of Munn School of Pharmacy says any drug, even helpful ones, can have lethal consequences.
You know, these things can happen one-time use or with repetitive use, and so that's really important for people to think about. For example, if I was taking methadone, the dose that I'm taking every day that actually is very beneficial to me, if I were to hand to you, Megan, would become lethal.
Thomas says even the marijuana of today is much more potent than it used to be, with the potential for life-altering psychological damage.
Cannabis not only will worsen psychosis, but may actually cause psychosis in vulnerable individuals.
Eastern Health's Wayne Bishop worked on the 2012 student drug survey.
Research tells us that they typically start between the ages of 12 and 18 years of age.
He says a critical link has been found between a teenager's developing brain and potential damage from drugs like marijuana.
To the teenager not having fully developed skills in the areas of problem solving, decision making, analytical thinking, judgment.
These days, teenagers are getting mixed messages about drugs, from celebration and legalization
5 or 6 times in my life that I've taken a puff,
to warnings about the dangers, even from marijuana.
It's not something that you ever think turns into something bad.
These are smart kids, but again, the brain is not developed enough to really have a full understanding, I guess, of the scope of the dangers.
But it's not all bad news. The RNC runs a drug education program in elementary schools, and Constable Kevin Foley says they see results with the pledge to avoid drugs that can last a lifetime.
For a person who's been a previous student of mine to approach me and tell me, "Constable Foley, I'm keeping my promise." So I'm hearing that, but you know, I'm also hearing things that concern me with other students or with other people where drug use is involved.
The new drug culture is scary for the kids involved as much as it is for those of us on the outside. But the people in the trenches say the more we talk about and understand the risks, the more kids can understand the consequences. Megan McCabe, NTV News.